guy who has helped Andy Reid in putting together a dynasty team. I don't know. You got your players calling it a dynasty. How many more does it take for you to call it a dynasty? Brett Veach, by the way, GM of the Chiefs.
Well, shoot, I don't know. I guess at least one more, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
we're already calling it, actually.
No.
Sorry. You're screwed. We're calling it one already.
I don't really know how that whole thing works and who actually decides what is and what isn't. So we'll just go ahead and just try to win every year. But, I mean, as far as the dynasty stuff, I'll leave that up to the people that, I guess, do that.
Yeah, you know what,
that's
though?
us.
You know what,
Us.
though? There should be like an official process
Right.
and a
Like a
trophy.
committee. Yeah.
There should be like a committee like they do with Hall of Fame induction. I think you're onto something.
Well, it's not a bad idea.
That
I know.
convenes to decide whether or not a team, based upon accomplishments over whatever year period, should be given that dynasty title, and you get a big-ass
It's
trophy,
actually
and you put it
interesting.
in the
You're right.
lobby, and there it is.
5 AFC Championship games, 2 Super Bowl wins, and another appearance, I think, classifies, in my opinion. Now we can figure out how much better you guys do from there.
Well, you're on the committee. So
I
there
will.
you go.
I'm going to work on
Yeah.
it.
There you go.
I'll get back to you, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
We had Travis Kelce included in that package of sound, and I had forgotten. We're going to see him on Saturday Night Live this week.
Oh, that's right. It's
hosting
this
the
week.
show.
Is that this week or next?
Yeah,
It is
no,
this
that's
week.
this Saturday
Yeah.
night.
That'd
So,
be good.
how high is your bar for how he'll perform?
Oh, he'll do great. I mean, you guys know. I
Yeah.
mean, that's right up his alley, and I'm actually surprised it took so long for him to get on that show and do that because, I mean, if there's one guy that can, ad-lib with the best, it's Travis, and just feel, be in the moment.
He can talk some crap. He's the best at that. Yes.
And I'm sure that whole staff, Heidi Gardner's a KC girl, and she'll lace him up with some good stuff. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Right. How about the parade? Well, who's the MVP of the parade? I mean, we saw enough of Mahomes. We know he won the Super Bowl. Who else was like? You go, oh man.
Yeah, Tommy Towson.
Tommy Towson got after it good.
Coach Nagy had a good day.
Coach Nagy had a good day. Those were your MVPs. Are you a beer drinker? Or do you?
No. So I get a little bit anxious because I have to speak, so I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah,
right. I have that fear.
Slurring your words in front of
I have
100,000.
the fear of being memed.
Yeah.
So no, I kind of just keep it, act like you've been there
Right.
and try to keep it respectable. And,
Gotcha.
But no, it's funny because you can always tell the guys that maybe it's the first time experiencing something like that.
Right.
And but it was a great day, and the guys had a lot of fun, and it's one of those things where guys are in the building for like 30 straight weeks. So when you go through all that and then have it culminate in a Super Bowl win, certainly it's a time to just kind of let it loose and have some fun there.
How much more will it mean this year, Brett, to be able to raise the banner at a game with fans present at Arrowhead Stadium?
Yeah, we talked about it. We missed out on a lot of things, and we won it back in 2019. We did get to the combine, but right after the combine, like everything shut down. So, the rest of the draft process and the ring ceremony and the banner being raised in Arrowhead. So we're certainly looking forward to all those things. It'll be a lot of fun.
How about you did a great job with your team. It's one of the younger teams in football. I mean, it's really kind of shocking when you unpack it to go. You guys were that young, and of course won the Super Bowl, and it could have almost sent a semi-rebuild, right? But talk about, do you think you're going to hit a Mahomes factor here at some point where, every free agent that's looking for a one-year deal, whatever he's going to be, kind of like we saw with Brady and the Bucks, where it was just I want to go play with him and be a part of that right now? Do you start to sense that might be happening with you guys?
Yeah, I think you do to
Yeah.
a certain extent. I mean, and look, I mean, if you are a veteran free agent and you're looking at one-year deals, I mean, why, especially if you're an offensive player,
right?
I mean, why wouldn't you want to play with Pat Mahomes?
Yeah.
And so I certainly think that as the years go on, you're going to see more and more of those one-year deals and players that want to put the final check box.
Juju Smith-Schuster type of things, right?
And it worked out amazing for him,
right?
And hopefully we can get him back. But I think you'll certainly see that.
Yeah,
and that can help to avoid any complacency. You bring in a veteran that guys know, who's been around the league, who doesn't have that completed resume yet. Yeah. Because how many of these can we win? Although I think Patrick Mahomes will keep that mindset from ever creeping in, because we know how many he's chasing.
Yeah.
And so he's not going to do, we're just going to do it again. He's going to want to get 3, then 4, then 5, and keep going. So I just feel like that fire is never going to go out for him.
No, it's funny because we left yesterday from KC, and I was scrolling through my text messages, and Pat actually had texted me. He's like, hey, just want to go over some guys at the combine.
Do it in
here
his
that I'm
voice.
interested in."
Do it in his voice.
I don't want to do a disservice. I'm not as good as some other players. But it's but he doesn't miss anything. I mean, he is so wired.
He watches everything.
All sports, too.
All sports, I know. I
you
see
can
him
ask him-
tweeting during golfing and everything.
F1, basketball, baseball. I mean, he is so wired in, doesn't miss anything. But, just yesterday he was asking about, hey, who are some of the hot names in the positions I'm going to be watching all week and just want to keep an eye out for him. So he's locked in, he's wired, and he'll be ready to rock and roll as we get started here.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
That is, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's that. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody quarterback do that, honestly.
Yeah, he's
a gym rat.
Yeah, his awareness level is through the roof and doesn't miss anything, and he's turned the page quickly on a lot of things in regards to just let's move on. Let's just keep rolling here.
Right.
He's got every attribute you could ever want in a quarterback, every single one of them, everything. And the highest praise that I can give him, too, considering everything he's accomplished, when I talk to him, he's never changed. Mm-hmm. He's still the same guy he was coming in. The fame hasn't changed him. Success hasn't changed him. He doesn't have an attitude. The money hasn't changed him. There's a consistency there, and there's that, he loves it, and he's got everything you could ever ask for in a quarterback. And
yeah, I mean, well said. I mean, because that's all true, and, the human being, like you mentioned, Mike, just has never changed, and he's still yes sir, no sir in the building. I mean, he's still a guy that he's accomplished so much, and he's one of the most famous sports icons in the world, and still answering the first ring. And if he doesn't call you right back, very rare, and we're very, very fortunate to have him.
You seem to have a magic touch with players. You and Coach Reed, your combination, where New England seemed like they had all these robots, right? Yes, Bill Belichick, right? You guys seem to have a little different feel and flair, which I think is really cool. We kind of talked about it leading up to the Super Bowl. A little more personality. Yeah. How do you kind of know a chief guy? Like you guys some guys that are unafraid to open their mouth and be a little crazy, but they love football. How do you guys kind of decipher that?
Well, that's just it. At the end of the day, if they love football, we'll make it work.
You'll make it work.
Just if they love football.
Yeah.
I mean, if they have that drive, desire, passion, if they love football, we'll live with some of the other, personalities, and we'll make it work.
The way you live, right?
Coach always is big on let your personality show and be yourself.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, as long as you love football and show up on time, he'll make it work. But just in general, Coach and I have been together for so long, and he'll trust me just like we'd all would trust him, and so I think if we ever bring a player up, or whether it be a free agency signing or a draft pick, I mean, Coach knows that we're going to really go through the homework and cross all the T's and dot all the I's, and so now we're just at the point where let's just go. Bring him in and we'll make it work.
Right.
The Tyreek Hill trade obviously created questions about what the offense would look like moving forward. How important was Patrick's role in going above and beyond the call, showing up for the offseason program, all the voluntary workouts, taking the guys to Texas? Coach Reed told Chris in the week before the playoff win over the Jaguars that Patrick was texting notes and observations. Here's what they do. How important was that to the offense, really not missing a beat without one of the best players in football on the team?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously extremely important, and I think that's exactly why the season started in Arizona and in Arizona, because you have a head coach and a quarterback that are in lockstep, and Pat never takes that responsibility for granted and knows the importance. And especially, like you said, Mike, you lose a guy like Tyreek Hill, and not only you're losing Tyreek Hill, but you're really bringing in, I mean, other than McCole Hardman, I mean, Juju, MVS, Sky Moore, Justin Watson. I mean, it was an entirely new receiver room. So Pat took it upon himself to just make sure that these guys are on the same page, and they're going to see and read the offense through the playbook and through the coach's eyes, but also he took that extra time to have those guys see it through his eyes and what he's thinking. And he actually took time out in training camp, and we had the afternoon is usually a special teams period, and players have some quick meetings and they're out. During special teams practices in the two-a-days, or not two-a-days anymore, but that second afternoon session, which is now a walkthrough, Pat would get with the receivers who weren't on special teams and just spend that extra time and actually go through the film as a coach and just take guys through it on his own. So, can't say enough about Pat and, the extra work he did, but, I mean, he just understands the role and responsibility of that position to the highest level.
You got Orlando Brown, free agent, right? There's all this talk right now about you got to win a Super Bowl when the quarterback's on the rookie contract, right? That's all there is. And then I want to go, wait, the team that, that just won it didn't have that. But maybe explain that flip side of what it's like to know, hey, wait, we know what our quarterback is and the money is, and now you can prepare yourself for the future. Unlike maybe a team like Baltimore that's like, wait, we don't know what the hell to do, if we're gonna have to pay this guy or what. Yeah. Can you kind of take us into your shoes that way?
Well, I mean, it helps up your offseason because you have the biggest piece of the puzzle checked off,
set up, right?
And also as we move forward here, hopefully the cap continues to grow and grow and grow, and you have the ability within that contract to kind of adapt and adjust it. But I think it helps from just a a continuity and stability standpoint, as you mentioned with the 1 year, veteran free agent guys. But I mean, when you go into every offseason and you know that this team is going to be good, they're going to have Pat Mahomes, I think it just makes it a lot more easy to execute your plan, but also recruit players.
Yeah. It goes back to that again a little bit. Yeah.
I want to take you back 6 years to when the 2017 class was being scouted, and Patrick Mahomes was part of it, and there wasn't this groundswell that he's the generational talent, he's the Peyton Manning, he's the obvious guy. When did you first detect that he could be what he's become, or was it even not on the radar screen then that he was going to be the guy that he now is?
You mean like in the process itself, or actually once he got into the building?
No, during this period. Was there something in the scouting that made you say, holy crap, this guy could be special?
Yeah. Well, I think, it's one of those situations where, you see a guy make all the throws, make all the highlight plays, and just really elevate all the players around him to play at that higher level. And I go back to the first time I saw him play against LSU in a bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, LSU was loaded with 4 5-star recruits, and Pat's out there by himself. And I mean, that game was super competitive. And he looked, it was very obvious watching that tape that he was the best player on the field.
Yeah.
And, you saw everything from an athletic standpoint you need to see. And then in your mind, you start to think, like, you put him with an Andy Reid, and he had such a great foundation to start with Alex Smith, to really get educated from Andy Reid. Alex Smith year one was certainly so valuable for him. But you just always start to think in your mind, if you put this together, you get him with Coach Reid, how this thing would work out. As much as like you'd like to say, like, yeah, I saw it, like, I knew that best player ever seen, but I mean, to win in this league is still hard, whether you have an Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, what have you. It's still hard to win this league. So to sit here and say we have all the success is still pretty crazy to think back 6 years ago.
Right.
But it just shows you when the stars align and you hit the coach and the organization and the player right, good things happen.
What do you think people miss in that process there? Like, just as because there's so many people like, oh man, I see it now, or what do you think they were kind of concluded with?
Yeah, I think it's probably a lot like any situation where guys are probably just people overthink things. They see the arm and then the air raid system, and
exactly.
Quarterbacks don't come out of there.
Win losses.
It doesn't that mean?
Big 12 defenses.
John Elway didn't have a winning record, I think, come out.
Yeah.
I actually brought that up when we were going through that process.
4-7 is last year.
Baseball player with a losing record. Pat Mahomes was a baseball player.
Kind of worked out.
It kind of worked out.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.